This is a New York Muscle Radio Network production.
Hey there, guys. You're listening to the Bikini and Barbell Show, the #1 resource for bikini-ready fit chicks. What's up, beautiful ladies? Welcome to the Bikini and Barbell Show, episode number 5. You're listening to the #1 fitness podcast for women with your host, Laura Bevilacqua, and alongside with me today is my big brother, Anthony Bevilacqua, and Pete Kacharian. On today's episode, we'll discuss the good fats versus the bad fats. But before we get started into that, I just want to mention that this channel is now on its own, so you can subscribe to it if you want to keep tuning in to listening to this podcast. So what's up, guys?
Hey, Schnitzke days. What's up there, Hammerhead? Pete, you there?
I was going to say, man, I thought Hammerhead was my name.
Yeah, I call everybody Hammerhead.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, Hammerhead. I don't know. Like you're Hammerhead, you're a hard head.
I get it. Yeah. I don't know if that's me. Is that me?
I don't know.
I don't think
This is a nickname I give to everybody. But yes, I'm so excited. The Bikini and Barbell Show has graduated off the New York Muscle Radio Network. So it's on its own now. So again, ladies, if you're listening to this and you're a new listener, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you leave us a 5-star review. If you're listening to this on New York Muscle Radio's channel, this will be the last Bikini and Barbell Show episode that is on the New York Muscle Radio Network. So if you want to listen and subscribe for more, you have to head over to search for it in iTunes or in your Android app or whatever you're using to listen to podcasts and type in the Bikini and Barbell Show and just subscribe there. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and subscribe, because you're going to hear more stuff about how women can succeed in fitness.
Yeah, so let's talk about my meet a little bit. This past weekend.
You did great, Schnitzy.
A lot better than the first one. I felt confident, and it was just so exciting to be there. What about you guys? Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, Pete was such a help.
Hey,
he
man,
did. He actually got really good videos. So.
You see, I was good for something, right? That's all. That's
did.
all Anthony wants me there for. Pete, come, just take footage, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I needed someone to carry my bag, so I needed Pete Kacharian there. But yeah, it was a good meet. I think you performed a lot better than you did the last one. I mean, how did you feel? This is your second meet, so how did you feel?
I felt more comfortable being on that platform, and I just was ready to hit all the numbers that I wanted to hit. I went 7 for 9, so I'm actually proud of myself. You know, this meet thing was kind of a last-minute thing, so coming out 7 for 9 was actually okay for me.
So what did you finish with? Let's tell all our ladies here what you did. What were your goals? What were you trying to achieve? What did you end up hitting? So let's hear the whole spiel.
My total was 545. I hit a 226 squat, 110 bench, and 209 deadlift. I did have more in the tank for bench, I have to say.
Yeah, I think the cool thing was the last meet, the first one you did, you opened with 110 and you couldn't hit it. The week before you did it for 3 reps. So you had missed all your benches.
I always feel like in the gym I hit higher numbers, whereas in the meet it was just like, I guess because it's different. I don't really train at that time and I have more meals in me on a regular day.
Well, me and Pete have another theory for why you. Go ahead, Pete. Tell her our theory on why you perform better in the gym.
I think probably on meet day you just get in your own head. I think that's the problem a lot of people have. You definitely probably have more trouble with that than I think most people, because usually when you do mess up a little bit, it's very easy to get in your own head and just kind of miss the rest of your attempts with anything you do. And I think that in the first meet you struggled with that a lot. And I think that was something you definitely overcame the second meet.
Yeah, I definitely do get too much in my head. So I had to actually go into the bathroom and talk to myself in the mirror in between.
Like Eminem?
I was going to say she pulled an 8 Mile.
Listening, yeah.
So
but
I think
but I still hit numbers that I was confident hitting, and I was more prepared for this one. So now the next one is just I'm going to focus on hitting higher numbers because I know I can do it.
I think one of the cool things was, like I said, you couldn't opened the first meet, we opened with 110, which might have been a little heavy for you to start, but the week before you did 110 for 3 reps. So you opened with 110, you just completely missed. You missed the cues. You forgot to pause. Just a bad bench day in the meet. And it's always different in the meet versus what happens in the gym. So the simple fact of the matter is that you crushed 110 was just something that was so like, wow, awesome. You took the weight that you couldn't even touch in the meet last time, and you absolutely made it look like a warm-up this meet. So my hat's off to you because that was really cool to see.
Thank you. And I did end up getting 3rd place. I was, what'd they say, 5 pounds off of being 2nd place?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I was watching so at a meet, usually they have a screen and it shows you like, the stats and what's going on. So I'm watching the stats the whole time, and you were in 4th at one point. And I'm like, all right, if she crushes this deadlift right now, I think it was like your 2nd attempt. I said she'll move up. So you crushed it. Oh, no, it was your 1st attempt. You crushed it. So you moved up to 3rd. And I said, if she makes this last deadlift, she's going to easily be close to 1st. But you missed that last deadlift. So, but it was cool just to watch. I'm watching on the screen, and it was funny because usually at a meet I don't pay attention to that stuff because I only focus on myself. So when I was there for you backstage, I mean I was there for you last time, but I wasn't watching the screen this time. This time I was actually watching. I'm like, wow, she was so close. I knew the whole time going into it where you were, and you had no idea.
And nobody was telling me anything.
It's better that way.
That's why towards the end, I'm like, when I was done, I was talking to my mom and I was like, why aren't we leaving? Like, I didn't get an award. Like, let's just go. What are we waiting for? And everybody acted like they had no idea until they announced the awards. So.
Yeah, Anthony was actually telling me before, right when
I told everybody.
Yeah, he said she took 3rd. Should we say anything? And I'm like, no, don't tell her yet.
Yeah, so I told
let her hear it when it happens. It's more exciting that way.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So congratulations to you, and I'm sure. Do you have any goals as far as the future? As far as like, do you want to do another meet? Did you think about that yet? It's been 100%. A couple of days. Since
yeah, I already looked up the calendar for the next meet that I want to do. So yeah, I do have a lot of goals left, so I'm not done yet.
Nice.
I wanted to say thank you actually the other day for giving me those straps that you handed over to me. Yeah,
so we had just released our strong straps, New York Muscle Radio's first signature product. You can head over to newyorkmuscleradio.com and pick up a pair of those today. So our new grips. So what do you think about them? We actually have all the videos and everything is on New York Muscle Radio. So if you guys are interested in that. But Laura, what did you think of them?
They're so fresh. My hands like still smell like that rubbery smell the whole time. But they were awesome.
Yeah, they're hot off. I gave them to you right hot off the press. So yeah, that's why they have that smell. But that goes away. Don't worry about that. But what so how did you like them? Have you ever used straps like that before?
Yeah, I really don't train with straps like that, but I decided, since this week I'm kind of taking it light after the whole meet and everything. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try them out, use them. And yeah, they were actually great.
One of the things I like with them too is that they're so easily usable on a barbell. You could just slip it on and off. So I think that's something that a lot of the other
it on your wrist, so it's not,
Yeah, a lot of the other straps and anything like that is just too bulky and clunky. I mean, I know, big guy, you have a pair of I don't even know what they're called, but they're so bulky.
I have some really bulky ones, and I'm a guy and my hands are bigger than the average females, or at least I'd like to think so. So those are definitely too big for females, and with these grips, we definitely wanted to kind of cut down on the bulkiness of them, just to make them a little more comfortable. Because even for me, I don't like to have something bulky on me when I'm training. I kind of want it just to serve its purpose, to wrap around the bar. And believe it or not, I've actually used some female grips and straps before when I've weight trained, just because they're smaller, and if they get the job done, they work for me. So that was kind of an idea behind this as well, just to cut down on the bulkiness and the size. So I think for women especially, it's really good, because they have trouble with, if the straps are too big, it's going to be bulky and uncomfortable. And I think these definitely solve that problem as well.
Yep. Can relate more.
All right, so let's move on to the quote of the day. I found this quote and I thought that we can all relate to this. So it says here, "Decide that you want it more than you are afraid of it," by Bill Cosby.
Good old Bill Cosby. Wasn't he a pedophile?
Yeah, well, besides all that, that's what I was going to say.
Decide you want it more than you are afraid of. That kind of goes more than one way for him.
I was going to say, I think he definitely decided he wanted it more than he was afraid of it.
Wait, what exactly did he do? He was a pedophile, right?
No, he wasn't a pedophile. He was like a rapist, man.
Oh, even worse. I think he was a pedophile. Even worse.
But I kind of could relate to that with the meet this weekend. You know, I wanted it more. I was afraid and the fear of like, well, you know, this girl, because before the meet, I always look at the roster and I always look up the girls that I'm competing against.
I don't know why you do that.
Yeah, I don't know why, and I look at their numbers and I'm like, wow, they have so much more experience than me. They're gonna hit all these numbers, and you know, and they did. God bless them, and you know, but I was coming out of my comfort zone, so I had to, instead of being afraid of it, I wanted it so bad that's also why I think I did better than the last time.
Yeah. See, I think like Bill Cosby says, you can't be afraid of it. You have to really, you have to instill, you have to really. I think one of the better things to say is like you have to really solidify your goal and really define it and say exactly what you want. Because if you just kind of wishy-washy it, like, oh, I'm gonna go to this, you know, in your case, I'm gonna go to this meet and I'm just gonna lift. You know, it's kind of wishy-washy. You have to go into it knowing exactly, okay, I want to try to hit this, this, and this. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too this is almost another quote, but it's pretty much, it means the same thing. You know, people do two things. They either move towards pleasure and away from pain. So usually if you have a goal and maybe you're afraid that something bad's going to happen, oh, if I do this, I might lose. You know, in your case, if I do this meet and I don't do well, I might look bad, I might lose, whatever. But you're still motivated to win. So the only way you're actually going to get that done is if you focus on the motivation to win as opposed to the motivation to move away from the pain. And a lot of people go away from pain before they go to pleasure first. So that's one thing you always have to pay attention to, is weigh that out, figure out where your mind is going.
One of the other things I want to say quick too, and I could point this out, and I think this would be good for our female listeners to hear too. So Laura did her first meet. So she got over her fears and went ahead and did her first meet. And didn't do as good as she liked. She failed her first meet. I guess we could generally say she failed her first meet because she didn't qualify. She didn't get any of the benches, so that means that the meet didn't count. She didn't even get a score because she missed all her benches. So she failed. But that lit a fire under her to compete, and she came back and placed third. So it just goes to show you that sometimes you have to fail in order to move forward. You have to really solidify that goal, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just funny that how well you did compared to what you did the last time. So it just goes to show you that the last time you were prepared, but you weren't as prepared.
Yeah.
You didn't know what to expect.
It was only
and
a couple
that's
months.
the first time happening, so it's normal.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to the trending fitness topic. Now, I have a question for you guys. Have you guys ever tried apple cider vinegar?
Yeah, didn't we talk about this on the other podcast? The other ones?
Yeah, we have, I think. But I found an article that a girl, she had took a shot of apple cider vinegar every day for a week. So what happened?
Wait, just apple cider vinegar?
She did apple cider, yeah, a shot of it every morning before anything.
Just apple cider vinegar? Nothing else?
Yeah, straight. No, that's it. Yeah. So she goes, in the article, she goes day by day for the whole week. And she says how excited she was, but she says that she misread the measurement and only put half a tablespoon on the first day. So she had it easy the first day. And she ended up eating a bowl of oats afterwards with almond milk. And she said that her stomach was so acidy that she felt sick afterwards. So as the days goes on, the days goes on of the week, whatever, she says that it wouldn't feel right with her stomach. It wouldn't, but she felt herself less bloated. So, and I take apple cider vinegar mostly every night.
Wait, so what was the point of the article?
That in the beginning, she didn't use it as she was supposed to, but
she only used half a serving.
Yeah, and she counted on it as losing weight, where she didn't do any type of diet with it. So she just thought if she took this shot every morning that she would just look leaner like magic. So
this was like a stupid girl. Who wrote this article? Yeah, who wrote this article?
This is on.
So was the article trying to explain that it worked or it didn't work? Or was it just describing what she was doing?
It describes how she does it, but then at the end she says that it does work if you keep it with a balanced diet.
Right.
Yeah, no shit. Wait,
yeah.
So the whole article was just like day one. So it was just a week of her taking apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, and then she stopped
It's
after
really,
that week.
it's really not that big of a deal.
I know
Yeah.
it's not.
This is why I hate social media, man, because all this shit pops up. Like I know I keep getting the stupid things for apple cider vinegar with the fake news ads. You ever see that one? It's like a video.
Yeah.
It's like some doctor talking about apple cider vinegar. It's like apple cider vinegar has been around for so long, and people are
Yeah.
like just
But that's what
finding
I'm
out
saying.
about it.
Like somebody, exactly. It's such a big thing right now that everybody's just taking a shot of it and thinking that they're going to be so lean.
Yeah,
So-
it's not gonna happen.
Meanwhile, the girl had no idea what to do with it. She kind of
Right.
just took it in the morning and then went to go have
So wait, let's talk about the benefits of apple cider vinegar first. So one of the things that apple cider vinegar is good for, and you have to get the right one, because I was guilty of this too, especially when I first started. I heard apple cider vinegar, and I'm talking about this was back in '05. I actually just got apple cider vinegar, but it wasn't the right one. It was the actual vinegar that you would use for a salad, and that's not the right one. You have to get the apple cider vinegar with the mother, it's called, and you'll see it has like that gunk. I call it gunk.
Yeah, it's like
at the
pulp.
bottom.
Pretty
Yeah.
at
much.
the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that from apple? Where's that? What is that pulp? Is that?
To be honest, I'm not even sure. I would assume so, but yeah,
Damn, I'm full of questions today.
you have to. Yeah, if you want to know if you have the right apple cider vinegar, if your bottle doesn't have that sitting in the bottom and you don't have to shake it up, then you're probably not consuming some good apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, it is the pulp. I gotta Google what that is. I'm not
Yeah.
sure off my head, but basically that's the one that has all the added benefits. So basically, you take a shot of that a day, and I would say it's equivalent to something like creatine, where it's gonna help you, but it's not something that's magical. It'll help you shuttle so basically, if you consume carbohydrates, it'll help your body use the carbohydrates more for muscle gain and fat loss, as opposed to just putting the carbs in your fat cells. So that's basically what it's gonna do. So
Yeah. I just thought it was a good topic to bring up for today because, as you said, like now all of a sudden it's a new thing that everybody thinks if they take it, they'll be lean. So just use it the right way and make sure you have the right one.
yeah, I used it back in '05. We're in 2017, so
Yeah. Now all of a sudden everybody's posting it on Instagram and
12 years later.
yeah.
Pete, you're the one that actually reminded me of the apple cider vinegar way back when. When did you find out about the apple cider vinegar?
I started using apple cider vinegar probably around 2007, 2008, which is when I first started getting into competitive bodybuilding. And I used it, like you said, almost like a creatine, I guess, for fat loss, Not because if you take it, like this girl assumed that if you just start taking it, it'll help you burn fat. But it'll help with your digestion. It'll help with your insulin sensitivity. And when you're focusing on getting the most out of your carb intake for burning fat and maintaining muscle mass, you do want to make sure that you're maximizing your insulin sensitivity. And supplementing with apple cider vinegar definitely helps me every single time I do go into a fat loss phase. It just helps me lose weight while I'm still keeping my carbs pretty high. That's not going to happen just from supplementing with it. The diet is the biggest part of it, but it'll help me, maintain my body composition and improve it while still eating carbs. So again, it's like a supplement, like you said, almost like the creatine for fat loss, you could call it, where it'll just help a little bit. But I've been using it religiously since then. I don't use it daily, but anytime I do want to improve something, let's say if I do start cutting calories or I'm changing something with my diet, it's a good supplement to use. And I just do the typical, shot in the morning. Sometimes even when I'm dieting, I go a little more and I'll do one in the morning, one at night. Not necessary, but I do it and it works for me.
Yeah, and I think I want to mention two things. Well, one of the things too is if you don't know how to diet, if you're not following something like cracking the flexible dieting code and understanding how to diet, you're not gonna lose weight from anything. It doesn't matter even if you had a magic pill. If you're not dieting, you're not gonna lose anything. So apple cider vinegar is not gonna. If you're in a caloric deficit, meaning you're eating less calories than you're consuming, you're gonna lose fat. So the apple cider vinegar will aid in that and make it more optimal, quote unquote.
Yeah. So today I just want to give a shout out to Littlest P. She Instagram messaged me and said, just wanted to let you know you were doing great on the podcast. So I just wanted to give her a quick shout out.
Well, not really. So guys, if you want a shout out, you can feel free to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/New York Muscle Radio, or you could send us a message on Instagram at LawBevs or at AB Fitness or at Jacked Fitness. So Laura read some of the shout outs. What else you got? We're only talking about the people that shouted you out because we want to highlight those people since the Bikini and Barbell Show is now its own entity. But again, everything is through the New York Muscle Radio Network.
Yeah, so I just wanted to shout her out since you cut me off, but
You're just like, oh, all right, we're going to shout out this person. All right, there, let's move on.
all right, so are you guys ready to move on to today's episode and our topic?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hey,
you
man,
ready?
stop being a bully over there.
Or
right.
do we need a quick break?
Yeah, let me take a quick break here.
All right.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down that tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean,
What can I do?
you gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Bootylicious.
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
All right, guys, we're back from the break, and we're going to move on to the listener question of the day. If you guys have a question that you would like us to answer, submit it on our website at www.newyorkmuscleradio.com or call in your question at 508-687-2534. And the question of the day is, I've heard of people using apple cider vinegar while training. I don't know how to use or what to use it for. Can you please explain? This question's from Brittany.
It's so funny. Today's the apple cider vinegar podcast. We should have just did that.
See, I told you.
It's true,
No,
man.
that's
It really is the
trending
new.
for whatever
Yeah, it really is the new thing, I guess.
So, all right. So, how are we going to answer this question? So, what was the question again? Read it again.
I've heard of people using apple cider vinegar while training. I don't know how to use it or what to use it for. Can you please explain?
All right. So, basically, I mean, we mentioned a little bit before what apple cider vinegar is and why it's important and how to use it. But the really thing that I want to address is I actually do use apple cider vinegar before a workout. I just literally throw it in my pre-workout shake. Again, just to help partition the nutrients that I'm eating. So I usually have a pre-workout meal that's kind of big in carbohydrates. So the apple cider vinegar actually helps shuttle the carbohydrates into the muscle. Again, it's not magic, but it's just a good optimal time to take it. And then I'll use it again at night. Again, if I'm dieting, I'll use it again at night. So it's twice a day. If not, I'll just take it during that time. That's usually why I use it. It's not going to give you any type of a boost in the gym. It's just, again, to help with nutrient partitioning, or basically how your body handles the food you're eating.
Yeah, I guess that's how she took it, as that it'll give you an energy booster. But
Yeah, no, it doesn't do that.
yeah,
It's not a pre-workout.
yeah.
It's not caffeine.
Yeah, if anything, for the short-term benefits of it, it would be more to kind of improve digestion. So you could take it right after a meal.
Yeah, but
or
at the
even
same
right
token,
before.
I'm sorry, Pete. Going back to what that girl said too, which we didn't address either. She said that she used the apple cider vinegar and then was getting a sour stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, her sour stomach was her just not liking the taste of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she was
That's
describing.
why she had a bowl of oats afterwards.
Yeah.
She did that.
But yeah, if you have some acid reflux or something like that, and your stomach doesn't really tolerate a lot of food, and you kind of have a big meal, a very acidic meal, you'll notice that if you do have a shot of apple cider vinegar, even after it or a few minutes later, it'll kind of help you digest a little bit, or get some of that out of you, and it just kind of clear your stomach a little bit better. So it does help with
Doesn't it give you
digestion.
some type of vitamins also? Yeah, right?
Well,
Vitamins.
what it really does is it'll also help balance out the pH of your body. So it'll help it'll help neutralize the acidic component to your body. So it'll help with just detoxifying it in general. So it has so many health benefits, along with improving your insulin sensitivity and helping with fat loss.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we have anything else to say about apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, I think we spoke enough about that today. So let's move on to today's episode. Let's start with how much fat do women need in their diet? So ladies, we actually do need fats in our diet. It is actually an important part of our diet because they do provide fatty acids. They keep our skin soft. They deliver vitamins to the body, and they're a great source of energy, I would say.
Yeah,
But yeah, how much fat do women need in their diet?
so the
I
Institute
guess.
of Medicine, I guess, encourages women to consume anywhere between 20 to 35% of their daily calories from fat. And that's actually a good number based on, I think it's pretty much the same. For men, I believe it's 25 to 40, right? No, I think is it the same for men percentage-wise, Pete? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not even sure with the exact amount because I don't like to go off of like, the RDA recommendations because they're going to vary so much, especially for somebody who is trying to get in shape to improve their body composition versus somebody who's just eating a typical diet. But generally those recommendations as far as fat, they're not off too much. They're pretty good. But there's going to be variations of what a woman should do or shouldn't do if she's trying to lose weight, increase muscle mass, burn body fat.
Yeah.
So what defines something as being a good fat? The good fats are basically mono unsaturated fat and poly unsaturated fat.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in the whole diet industry. Basically, there's good fats and there's bad fats. And one of the things people, and we'll talk about this later too, is that something that's considered a quote unquote a good fat, you can eat an unlimited supply of. So Laura, what are some examples of monounsaturated fat?
Almonds, any types of nuts, vegetable oil, peanut butter, almond butter, avocado, which is actually funny because I thought before I even started like flexible dieting or anything that avocado was high in fat, so I would stay away from it. And I know some women are like, oh, I'll just have that avocado salad because they think avocado is healthy. But I knew that it was high in fat. So I was always afraid to put fat in my diet in general.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that. Pete, what about polyunsaturated fats? What are some sources of polyunsaturated fat?
Yeah, I mean, anything that basically comes from a plant source, is going to have a mixture of polyunsaturated fats. Yeah, believe it or not, soybean oil, you're going to have some polyunsaturated fats in there. Most of the time you will see like a mix. So like if you take a typical oil like an olive oil, you'll have some polyunsaturated fats, some monounsaturated fats. It's usually just a ratio. That's what you're going to get. And again, those are pretty much considered by most people to be good fats. I'm not a fan of soybean oil, but technically on paper it's considered a good or a healthy fat. And if you go to a lot of food stores and you'll find things that are like gluten-free or vegan or whatever, you might see them loaded with something like a soybean oil, which everyone's going to have their own opinion and what their goals are might make that a good fat or a bad fat. For me, I consider that a bad fat. For a female or for somebody who's not trying to watch soybean oil or soy levels in their body, might not necessarily be a bad fat. So that's taking into consideration what your definition of a good fat and a bad fat is.
I definitely don't consume enough good fat, though. I'll tell you that right now. I definitely don't. Like, I don't really have like nuts that regularly.
Yeah.
I don't have avocado that regularly. Olive oil, I really don't have that regularly.
What about peanut butter?
Yeah, I don't have that regularly.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't.
I do
Neither
have
do
to
you
say I
either,
do
right?
have avocado and peanut butter regularly. Not almond butter, but peanut butter.
I love almond butter. Almond butter is so much better than peanut butter.
I do find, though, that women, compared to men, like Anthony said, he doesn't really eat too much good, quote-unquote, good fats. Men generally tend to go with the bad fats a lot more than women do. Even if women aren't watching their diets, the fats they do go for are generally like the peanut butters, the avocados, stuff like that. You don't usually see the women going crazy over the saturated fats from like the eggs or from the beef or anything like that.
Yeah, most of my fat comes generally from my food. Which, Laura, let's move on then. So what are some things that are defined as like a bad fat?
A bad fat. The bad fats would be trans fat and saturated fat.
Yeah, so saturated fat comes from your meat, and that's where all my fat comes from,
Yeah.
guys.
Me too. I definitely have that issue too. And See, the funny thing about that is, saturated fats kind of get a bad rap, but they're not as bad as people make it out to be, provided that you eat the right amount of it. Anything you go in excess of is not going to be a good thing. You do definitely want to make sure you're getting those quote-unquote good fats, not going primarily for the saturated fats. But the interesting thing is, trans fats, I would probably say, are definitely, in all cases, pretty much a bad fat. There's no need for them. It's not going to offer you any type of health benefit or muscle building or fat burning benefits. Even something like a saturated fat in certain cases is definitely beneficial to eat if those are your goals. But like a trans fat, there's no use for it. And, trans fats, a lot of times people consume them and they don't even realize that they are. We're talking about peanut butter, and I made the case that a lot of women do stick to healthier fats because they're eating peanut butter. A lot of times when, you eat those regular peanut butters, you're actually eating trans fat without realizing it because those have those partially hydrogenated vegetable oils in there, and generally that's a trans fat. And nutrition labels don't even have to list it if it's underneath a certain amount. So a lot of times, if you're not paying attention to what you're eating, you're actually consuming some quote-unquote bad fats. And we're talking about bad fats in terms of something like a trans fat that's just really not necessary.
Yeah, so basically, a trans fat's man-made, right?
Yeah, it has really, as from my opinion,
isn't it considered lard? I forget the.
Yeah, I think lard is
lard trans
one
fat?
of it. Yeah, I think so.
So basically, anything that's I guess foods in high trans fat, French fries, you get cheeseburgers depending on where they're cooked, different kind of pies like chicken nuggets, donuts.
Yeah, and those are all foods that they're designed to have a longer shelf life when they put these in. They use them as preservatives in most cases. Like I said, peanut butter, that could sit on the shelf for months, years, whatever, however long the expiration date is on something like a peanut butter. And then you take like a natural peanut butter. If you look at it, you ever see the difference between opening up a natural jar of peanut butter and a regular jar of peanut butter? The natural always has the oil sitting at the top.
The oil.
I always drain that oil.
Yeah, I just dump it right out. I don't like mixing it.
But really, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to mix it in.
Yeah, I don't like doing that though. I want to get rid of all the oil. But that's the difference.
Yeah, and I guess that moves on to the next topic of why flexible dieting is important for your overall lifestyle, because you can have those bad fats, but you just have to moderate it into your diet.
Well, actually, I want to back up a little bit because one of the things we forgot to talk about was like omega-3. So omega-3s are basically your polyunsaturated fat. Which is we considered a good fat, but polyunsaturated fat, we talked about it being only oils and stuff like that, but omega, that's where the omega-3, the fatty fish comes in, your fish oil tablets, things like that. That's where that's going to fit into because I know we're going to get a question about that, but you had mentioned the different oils, but like flaxseed oil, hemp oil, fish oil, any type of oil like that is really where your omega-3s are going to come from. And then your omega-6 is like flaxseed oil too. I believe, because I don't have I'm not sure off my head, I believe that's a PUFA as well.
PUFA.
Isn't like salmon and all those type of fishes also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they, again, like Anthony said, he eats more of the bad fats. I'm sure Anthony, and I'm guilty of this probably even worse than him, doesn't consume a lot of, fish oil. You supplement with fish oil, though, don't you?
Yeah, I take 3 a day. But
right.
You know what, though? I don't know if it does anything, so I'll probably stop.
Right, but, in terms of you getting that in through your actual diet,
none.
None, right?
It's bad. Only when we go for sushi, all you can eat.
Yeah, that's has to be to the extent that I get it. That's about it.
Yeah, because there's your when you go for all you can eat sushi, you have unlimited amounts of avocado and salmon.
Yeah, you're getting it in.
So there you go. That's it. So basically, I got to go all you can eat sushi once a week,
at least, if you want to get those in. If not, you got to supplement with some fish oil.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. Laura, what about you? Because I'm curious. I mean, Pete mentioned it before, but you said you do have like the avocado, and you have that stuff regularly.
Yeah, actually today I just had a turkey sandwich with avocado. So I do fit it in well with my diet because now using the flexible MyFitnessPal, it allows me to have those good fats. Even if I did want a bad fat, I would have to just put it in and make sure it fits throughout my day.
Yeah, but it's so funny. For me, this is the way I look at it. I don't want to waste my fat on that.
On avocado? I know, but...
And you get a lot, like, what's your fat intake now at a daily day?
25.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want like an avocado is what 13
but
or something
some days
like that?
I don't even hit my fat, like all of it, because I'll have like yogurt and stuff like that. But the avocado, yeah, I feel like it's worth it because I do like the taste of it.
It's just so
I guess
funny
it
how,
just
like you
depends.
said, Pete, it's so true that find that women gravitate more toward that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it does have to do with the fact that if they do follow something like using MyFitnessPal or flexible dieting, where they're allowed a certain amount for the day, if you have 25 grams or 30 grams of fat to work with, and you're going to go for something like, I don't know, a turkey burger that might have 15 grams of fat in it, most women aren't going to want to spend their 15 grams of fat,
Yeah, exactly.
half their daily fat off of eating something like, a 93 lean turkey burger. They rather go the 99 lean route and just eat an avocado with it.
Yeah.
You guys making me want an avocado, and they're in my fridge. I should go eat one. Maybe I'll go make one right now.
I want to know how much fat you have a day,
85 grams.
if only. What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I have about 75 to 80. I don't really want more than that, though. I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah, like I feel like it's almost and I think this is just a guy thing. For me, it's almost like a waste. I don't know. Like I feel like all right.
Would you
So
rather
let's
would
just
you
say,
rather have a donut?
nah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not-
see, that's the thing too with us. Like we said, we go for kind of the bad fats because we like to eat the foods that, since we have 70 to 80 grams of fat to work with, we will go the route of having the
Actually
93, turkey burger because it tastes better than the 99. Yeah, we'll put the cheese on it, the bacon on it, whatever it is, because we have it to work with it, so we use it to make our food taste a little better. But when your calories are low, and even my eating habits change when I start dieting down. Let's say I only have 60 grams of fat to work with.
Yeah, then I savor those fats.
Yeah.
And I don't waste it on. I won't have an avocado or anything like that,
No.
especially when I'm dieting.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
as long as it works for you, man. That's
I guess.
that's how it is.
I guess. Good point. All right, Laura. So you were saying about flexible dieting?
Yeah. So they also, I don't know if this is true or not, but if you have fat, a good amount of fat before you work out, you'll have a good amount of energy.
No, so that's a myth.
Yeah, I
so
don't
I think
like
we
that.
should wait. Hold
Yeah,
on.
so that actually ties into the next.
Yeah. So wait, let's just go back a little bit. So one of the things I think we should talk about too, you mentioned flexible dieting before, but I think the common denominator here is while there is such thing as a good fat and a bad fat, you have to look at the overall picture. If you're watching your overall fat intake, so if you're within the guidelines of where your fat should be, you're going to have optimal levels for health. Your health markers are going to be good because you're overall watching your fat intake. And I think that's the thing that most people forget is that, I need to get more good fat in. And then they only worry about eating the good fat, but then they end up going over their total fat intake. When you go over your fat intake, that's worse than eating a bad fat. We mentioned to me and my co-host, my other co-host, Big Pete, is that we don't consume a lot of the good fat, but we recently did my blood work. My good cholesterol came back high, and I eat a ton of bacon, cheese, and all that other stuff. I mean, granted, some of that stuff is genetic, but you get my point.
Yeah, a lot goes into it, more so than just, okay, I ate an avocado today or I ate a slice of bacon. That's not going to necessarily change the overall picture. When you're fitting that into the bigger picture, then you're covering your most important things, So that's why flexible dieting works so well. Hit those fat goals for the day. If you throw in a little bit of the quote unquote bad fats in there, it's not going to affect anything. But if you're eating tons and tons of junk food to the point where you're no longer consuming 25, 30 grams of fat a day for a female, and you're up to 45, 50 of junk food and bad fats, that's going to affect it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say, ladies, don't be afraid of those bad fats or the good fats. Just make sure you're able to fit it into your Fitness Pal or whatever you use. And if you are craving that junk food and you crave it more towards the nighttime, save that extra fat so you can have that craving.
So, Laura, let's move on to the common fat myths that there are. Because I think that, you started mentioning before, I think this is going to be a good topic for us to discuss because there's so many myths out there.
Yeah, well, so like I said, I have heard that if you do have a good amount of fats before you work out, you're supposed to have like more energy throughout your workout.
So when you heard this, did they specifically say like a specific food? Because people love to do that. They'll put a specific food to attributing it to a lot of success.
Yeah, like I guess actually at the gym I do see them having like donuts and all this while they're working out too, and I'm like,
Wow, people do that.
I can't even imagine. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people
they'll
do the
actually
donut thing,
bring.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of people do that.
actually, I know a lot of people do the donuts, or I don't know a lot of
Donuts and
people, but
deadlifts,
yeah,
but-
people do stuff like that. They'll eat sugary stuff as like an intra-workout carbohydrate.
Yeah.
But a donut is actually not the best choice, and it's probably one of the worst ones you could
I
choose.
actually would want to throw up while I'm working out if
Yeah.
I was having that, you know?
Like some people do, like, and Anthony's done this before, but he'll have like Sour Patch Kids or gummy bears or something that's
Or,
pretty
yeah.
much pure sugar, because that's what you're actually burning. You're burning glucose when you're working out. Yeah, you're going to get that in a donut, but you're also going to get about, another 15
grams of fat.
grams of fat on top of that, which is going to slow down the digestion of that glucose anyway. So you're kind of defeating the purpose. The donut's not a good source for that at all.
Yeah. So they say that having a high fat meal before you work out, then that's different from what you're talking about. So having a high fat meal, exactly for the same reason why you shouldn't have high fat intra workout, is the same reason why you shouldn't have a high fat meal pre workout. Because if you have a high fat meal pre workout, for me personally, I get sluggish because your body's, first of all, fat is one of the things that take the longest to digest. So, something as opposed to carbohydrates and protein, if you have a meal that's just carbs and protein, let's just say you have a shake and a bagel with no fat in it, that meal is going to get absorbed a lot quicker than if you had that with a scoop of peanut butter on, tablespoon, whatever, peanut butter. It's going to slow down the digestion because fat takes longer to leave the gut. So you want those nutrients getting into your body as quick as possible. So that whole myth of having a high fat meal before you work out is not going to give you more energy. If anything, you'll probably be a little sluggish.
Yeah,
You
that's
need the
definitely the
carbohydrates
last thing
before
you
you
want
work
to do.
out.
That's definitely the last thing you want to do. Because pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout, your goal for your nutrition should be to get energy into your system as fast as possible at all 3 times. Anytime you do add fat to the meal is going to slow it down, and that would be the only reason to add fat to a meal at a specific time, is if you want the digestion to actually slow down. And like Anthony said, you don't want that around your workout. I think the myth kind of started from the way the body actually burns energy throughout the day, because you're burning fat sources throughout the entire day, whether you're resting, moving, whatever it is. When you go into the gym and you work out at a very high intensity, you're going to be burning primarily glucose. So when you're in the gym, that's what you want to focus on, getting glucose or having glucose available for energy. So that's why the intra-workout snacks, carb sources, sugary stuff work, because your body's going to use that instantly, and they also digest very, very fast. So you don't want to slow that down with fat.
Laura, what do you eat before you work out?
Usually, like, I just had a turkey sandwich, or I would have a protein bagel, protein shake. I like to get my protein and my carbs in more than I usually save the fats till after my
That
workout.
was my next question. When do you normally have the fat? Yeah. So again, you ladies listening to this, you want to try to keep fat under 10 grams for your pre-workout meal and your after-workout meal, because again, that's going to make sure that those nutrients are going to get to your muscles as fast as possible. So
Another myth I heard was a low-fat diet means that you should avoid fat as much as possible.
yeah, well, obviously a low-fat diet is obviously you should stay away from fat because you're staying as low as possible. But basically,
like having no fat at all and just having everything, watching everything having zero fat.
yeah. So people basically think that if you eat fat, you're going to get fat. And you said you were guilty of that too before with the avocados.
Yeah, I was actually, because before I started flexible dieting, I would just try to look for anything that had zero fat and just eat that, because I was afraid of having any type of fat.
Yeah, if you eat fat, you're not going to get fat from it. As we know, fat is a very...
I think it's easier for men to say that than women, though, because, I guess no girl wants to hear, like, oh, I don't want to eat this fat because I don't want to get fat. Like, it's normal for a girl to say that, I feel like, because I'm a victim of it. Like, I would say I don't want that because it has fat.
Yeah, I think that comes mostly from not understanding what
Yeah.
fat actually is, because you hear fat, body fat, and fatty acid, which is a fat that you eat, and you associate them as the same thing when they're not. So, if we're talking about macronutrients, you have protein, carbs, and fats. Protein and fat are both essential nutrients. Your body can't survive without them. So you can't cut them out and expect to actually have optimal health or even live. If you don't eat those, you're going to starve your body. So you do need protein and fat in the diet. And stored body fat's not the same thing as fatty acids that you do consume. Your body burns them differently, and you have to distinguish the difference between the two. And I think most women, or anybody who doesn't understand what it actually is, thinks that fat itself is the equivalent of stored body fat. And what stored body fat just is excess energy that you consume that your body didn't use. So it's not the same thing. You don't eat it.
Yeah, excess. And by energy, you mean calories.
Exactly. Yeah, calories are energy. So if you eat too many of them, they're going to be stored as body fat. It's not fatty acids that you consume that are stored as body fat.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just for argument's sake say Laura needs 1,200 calories every day to lose weight. That's what she needs. Whatever that is, what it is. That's the number. If she has 1,300 calories, it doesn't matter if it's from healthy fat. It doesn't matter if it's from spinach and chicken. She went 100 calories over what she needs. Her body's going to take that 100 calories and store it for use later, because her body only needs 1,200 to burn fat.
Right. And at the same token, if she loses fat on 1,200 calories a day, and she gets the bulk of those 1,200 calories from fat sources, let's say she eats an enormous amount of fat every meal, it's pretty much, peanut butter, avocado, stuff like that, and there's a little bit of protein in that diet. If she's at 1,200 calories, she's still going to lose weight. She's in a caloric deficit.
Exactly.
I don't recommend you do that, but that's a true statement.
Yeah. Can certain fats actually make you leaner? The study shows that monosaturated fats actually shrinks belly fat.
Oh, yeah, I heard that before, that people actually think that they have a monounsaturated fat, like an almond. I've read that before, that almonds are going to make your waistline shrink. Big guy, how many almonds do you consume in a day?
Probably none, unless it's a day that I'm in the mood for an almond, and I don't have any.
Yeah, I never really have almonds either.
Yeah,
I have a bag of them in my house, but they're still here.
Yeah, they're okay. I honestly eat
even
them
like
more
the serving
so.
size is like not even a lot. It wouldn't even fill me.
Yeah, for most women too. That's something they might stay away from, just because almonds and nuts in general are actually very good. They're one of those foods that will pack a lot of calories for a small portion size. So if you're trying to gain weight, those are good. If you're trying to lose weight, those are the foods you probably want to avoid. So I actually like nuts, peanut butter, and stuff like that more so when I'm trying to gain weight, because it's not going to fill your stomach as much, but it's going to be very calorie dense.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that one time I bought those little, they come in a box and they come in little bags. And I was actually trying to lose weight at this point, and I opened the bag, and I was so excited. I don't know why I wanted them, but
like the 100-calorie packs of almonds.
Yeah. It was like lightly salted or something. So I opened the bag, and I'm excited to have like a snack. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna fit this in, and I wasn't even full from it. It was like such a waste, but I had to obviously put it into my fitness pal, and there was like 5 almonds, so it wouldn't be worth it for a.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys got to remember too, even though these things are healthy, almonds, avocado, olive oil, if you go out to eat and you look at the menu, majority of the time, the thing that it contains the most calories are the salads. And people under the misconception that if they go out and eat a salad, they're eating healthy. But in reality, they're overeating their calories. I've seen salads have like 1,100 calories. And it's because they're so calorically dense. All these fats that we're talking about here, good fat or bad fat, they're very dense. So like a tablespoon of oil is 140 calories. That's a ton of calories for what it is. Versus if you took that 140 calories of olive oil and instead had 140 calories of chicken, you're going to be much more satisfied from the chicken versus the 1 tablespoon of oil.
Yeah, and I think an issue too is a lot of people that are worried about weight gain, they associate the volume of the food with gaining weight. So if something is very dense, maybe not calorie dense, but it takes up a lot of space in your stomach. Let's say you eat a very, very large meal. It might not necessarily be calorie dense, but you feel so full, like, oh my God, I ate all this food. My stomach is, there's no room left in my stomach. You think that means weight gain, when in reality, how your stomach feels has no direct relationship with gaining weight or losing weight. It's the amount of calories packed in there.
That's a good point, man. Every once in a while, you're good to have on the show, man.
I'm only speaking from experience, man, because I remember when I first started, getting involved with this and had no understanding of nutrition. That's the way I looked at things. If I ate a huge meal, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to get fat because I'm so stuffed, but you don't understand that it's all energy balance. It's not necessarily about filling your stomach or keeping it empty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that, certain fats would actually make you leaner, I would say dark chocolate.
That would make you leaner?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've heard, but
So why do you think it would?
I'm not sure. It's a myth, I guess, but I guess it's better than milk chocolate
Why?
because of the milk.
But you're missing
Chocolate.
you're missing the bottom line. What's the bottom line?
That it's a myth?
No,
But-
you're missing the bottom line.
You see, he's asking you the questions that everybody should ask when they hear this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
okay, so dark chocolate helps, but why? So just think about it logically for a second.
Yeah.
Why would dark chocolate as opposed to white chocolate? You know, what's the first thing you think of? Like, is the calories any different? If the calories are the same, why would it be any different? You know,
Yeah.
that type of myth, and it's the same thing with like the almonds, gets thrown around because of some of the micronutrients that one might consume. Like there's definitely better health benefits from eating a darker chocolate as opposed to a milk chocolate. You know, when you're talking about cocoa or cacao, to be more specific, something
I
like
hate that name, cacao.
Yeah, but if we're trying to be correct here, that's what you would call it. Like a 99% cacao is definitely going to have more quote unquote healthy fats as opposed to something
I
like
think it's high in antioxidants, actually.
it
something like
is
that.
actually, and it does have some stimulix effect to it as well. So it's almost like you're getting a caffeine boost from it as well. But yeah, at health purposes, there's benefits. Like if someone was focused purely on trying to increase the amount of micronutrients they consume, then yeah, something like a dark chocolate is definitely better than a milk chocolate. But at the end of the day, if the calories are the same,
Yeah,
you know, that's
makes
what
sense.
you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, there's a big difference between eating for health and eating for, body composition or fat loss. You know,
Right.
when you want to eat for fat loss, it really doesn't matter. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, brown chocolate, whatever kind of chocolate you want to have, as long as you fit it into your calories, you're going to lose weight. But as long as you fit it into the calories, that's a key statement there.
Yeah, so I guess that moves on to the next subject would be eating unlimited amounts of healthy fat.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that ties right into basically what we just said, is that
Yeah.
you can't be fooled into thinking that certain things are going to make you lose weight, and you can't be fooled into that. It's a marketing ploy that a lot of these companies do to everybody,
Yeah, I think the main thing is basically don't think that if you eat fat, you'll get fat, Definitely, because you can't be afraid to eat those good fats or those bad fats. But and the main question is why you need fat in your diet overall.
Well, you have a lot of things, fat is essential. It is an essential hormone, like we mentioned also. And basically, you need, for women, essentially, you need fat for reproductive purposes. Your bodies were designed to bear children. And one day Laura's going to have a child. Hopefully that's not soon. But one day she's going to have a child, and she's going to need essential fat for development of the child's brain, just the child in general. So she's going to need to have those essential fats. That's what essentially fat is good for, especially for the time of the month, your PMS time. You need all that to keep your menstrual cycle regular. Fat for women is more for reproductive purposes, not so much for body composition purposes. Whereas a guy, if a guy is consuming a little to no fat, he's going to have a lower testosterone level. And testosterone is different for men and women, obviously.
All right, so I just want to move on to I just want to leave you guys with a helpful tip, a tip of the day. So everybody's goals are individual, not universal, and just because someone can run farther, lift heavier, go longer, doesn't mean that your effort is invalid. So I would just say, ladies, just keep working hard for your own goals, and I promise that the progress will come along the way. And on that note, I'm gonna end this episode. This is Laura, Pete, and Anthony with the Bikini and Barbell Show. And always remember, strength and beauty can exist in the same body with training like a man.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.